A testbed for Eurasian cohesion. The annual summit of the world's largest and most populous regional organization is kicking off, and you probably haven't heard about it. Chinese President Xi Jinping has arrived in Astana, Kazakhstan for the 24th meeting of the Council of Heads of State of the Shanghai Cooperation Organisation, or SCO. He's also paying a state visit to the country, the second one in less than 2 years. President Xi said upon arrival in Astana that over the past 32 years since the two sides established diplomatic ties, the relationship has evolved into a unique, permanent, comprehensive strategic partnership, the only one China has with such a relationship. So with China assuming the next presidency of the SCO, what will this year's summit mean for the organization and the region? What is there to celebrate and what's there to look forward to? Welcome to a special edition of The Point with me, Li Xin, coming to you live from Beijing. I'm pleased to be joined from Washington, D.C. by Ainur Slamgazi, Assistant Professor of the Astana IT University. From Yerevan, Armenia, by Meir Sahakian, Director of the China-Eurasia Council for Political and Strategic Research in Armenia. And from Shanghai, by Zhang Xiaotong, Professor in the Department of Political Science and International Relations and Director of China and Central Asia Studies Center at Kimep University in Kazakhstan. The warmest welcome to all of you. And we are seeing a very new lineup of guests here, so I'm really excited about the discussion. But first of all, what is the Shanghai Cooperation Organization all about? Let's take a look at this background report first.
The Shanghai Cooperation Organization is an intergovernmental organization that covers 80% of the Eurasian landmass and 40% of the world's population. The SCO was established in 2001 by China, Russia, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, and Uzbekistan. The SCO pursues security, development, and prosperity guided by the Shanghai Spirit, encapsulating the principles of mutual trust, equality, respect for cultural diversity, and the pursuit of common development. Over the past years, the authorities of SCO states have dismantled 73 clandestine cells of international terrorist organizations and stopped 69 terrorist attacks. After 2 decades of growth, the organization has also become a major platform to promote cooperation and bolster trade, economic growth, and energy cooperation. The total trade volume of SCO member states increased from over $667 billion in 2001 to over $6 trillion in 2020, growing nearly 100 times.
Quite impressive, but Ainur, let me go to you first. If it is the largest and most popular regional organization in the world, but people would ask, why isn't it better known than it is today?
Okay, thank you. So yes, indeed, the population and the landmass of these countries is enormous, and they are very diverse, and they come together and they are treated equal. So, but when we talk about the SCO, we should remember that when it was founded, it embraced the ideology of Shanghai Spirit, which is emphasize mutual trust and mutual benefit, equality, respect of the diverse civilizations, and as well as the pursuit of common development. However, as it has been mentioned by the Xi Jinping, in the recent years, this spirit has waned, and Xi Jinping called for the revitalization of this SCO. And Kazakhstan, as the rotating chairman of this within this year, this 2024, has taken significant steps to revive the spirit. The organization's launching, it has launched several new initiatives, and among them, we can mention that the Qasem Jomart Tokayev the president of Kazakhstan has mentioned that despite the advantages of the member countries of this SCO, such as transport, transit potential, market size, the SCO states have there were no major economic projects that has been implemented within the framework of this SCO. So for more than 20 years, and largely due to this is largely due to the financial support. And this is a significant obstacle, and Kazakhstan has proposed to create investment fund of SCO. So this will boost the Shanghai Spirit. So and among others.
Okay. Mayor, would you agree with Ainur's assessment that because of the lack of tangible, by the way, we actually have quite some economic tangible results, for instance, the trade among SCO members jumping by 100-fold, but we don't hear in the news so much. So what is your assessment of the tangible changes that the Shanghai Spirit has brought to peoples, to countries on the ground?
At first, I want to thank you for this invitation. It is great to be here. And I want to mention, when we are speaking about the results, the main result is peace, which these countries have in Central Asia. Because after the collapse of the Soviet Union, there were many security issues. But China, Russia, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, and Kyrgyzstan organized these organizations. And now we have peace in this very important region. And of course, now we have also our important players, members such as India, Pakistan, Iran, and they could also contribute to the peace of this region. From peace, economic benefits are also coming because peace is about stability and stability about economic growth. And we can see that China, through its Belt and Road Initiative, also strengthening Shanghai Cooperation Organization, giving economic benefits to these countries and regions.
Professor Zhang,
So
Professor Zhang, what is your assessment of the concrete impact this organization has had in this region? Do you also think it is the peace and the stability that has facilitated economic and trade growth? And how come through such an organization that we have had peace by and large for the past 23 years?
Thank you. I think that one of the reasons why this organization is less well known is largely because it is Russian-speaking community when it was initially established. Now, with more and more members joining English, and also now Chinese are becoming very important working languages. And also I agree that in a sense that this organization, SCO, is actually an organization built upon several pillars. One is economics, the other is security. So for sure, this organization brings peace and stability to this region, especially in the context of the Russian-Ukrainian war and increasing geopolitical tensions around the whole world. So think about the geographical location of the SCO members. They are the core members of the Eurasia continent, stretching from the west to the east. So think about the big population and economic weight of this SCO. It will surely bring more peace and stability. And also I think that we also need to give a boost to the economic pillar. For the Chinese, the policymakers really want to establish SCO economic community based upon SCO free trade area. So I think there's a lot of potentials for the SCO's future development.
Yeah, let's take a look at the special charter, let's say, of this organization. For instance, the decision is made based on consensus without a vote, meaning every country has to agree to any decision that's taken. And we have countries that are much larger than others which are much smaller. So I know how do you look at the features, the characteristics of this organization, and what sets it apart from the kind of descriptions that you would hear on some of the mainstream international media, or for instance by this report by the US Congress, which calls this organization a testbed for China's power projection, basically looking at this organization through a geopolitical lens?
So in this regard, we have to remember that SCO is not anti-Western organization. The main point of the SCO is to, as we have said, the security in the region, and the security remains top priority. And so, given the rising global conflicts and the erosion of international arms, the erosion of the arms control agreements, for example, as it has been mentioned, like last year alone, in the world happened 183 regional and local conflicts. This is the highest number in the 30 years. So, there have been a lot of implementation to tackle the threat like terrorism, extremism, and among others. So we shouldn't see that the SCO is anti-Western organization and it doesn't seek to compete with other organizations. As its core, the principle, as we have said, mutual understanding, where all countries, member states, they sit together, where they discuss, despite their differences of their size, their population, their economics, among others, they discuss how can we help each other, how can maintain our shared goals. So this is the core principle of the SCO, and to ensure the regional security and the global security as well by that.
Mayor, what is your reaction to the title of this U.S. congressional report, which was released in 2020, which suggests that the SCO is a testbed for China's power projection? Is this description objective?
I think in Shanghai Cooperation Organization we have different players, like Russia, India, Pakistan, Iran, and not also always that interests of these states are similar. For instance, we have also some kind of disagreements between India and China. So I do not agree with this statement. I think that it is an organization of equal states where they have agreements and also disagreements, but this platform is for that they can discuss their problems and solve their problems. So it is not against anyone, but it is for regional players.
Professor Zhang, why is the West so alarmed about this organization? And we also hear President Xi, for instance, talking about China's goal is to further increase China's international standing and influence, of course, also including China's influence in Central Asia. What is China's vision to do that in a positive way that also benefits countries in the region?
I think that the whole West is now very much trapped by the geopolitical imagination, which is classical geopolitical imagination, which sees the world as zero-sum game and also land power versus the maritime powers. I think this is a big geopolitical trap. And China wants to go beyond this geopolitical trap. So basically, China's expectations for this SCO is really to boost the regional prosperity and also China's domestic economic growth. Look at Qingdao, where the SCO Economic and Trade Pilot Zone, which was established several years ago, shows its vitality. And look at Xinjiang, this autonomous region, which serves as a gateway between and among SCO members. So China largely sees the SCO as economic and, yes, I would also put it, a geo-economic project, which very much focused on economic prosperity for the whole region. So in other words, it's really a geopolitical trap for the West, seeing only through the lens of classical geopolitics.
Well, I have personally made a story in Horgoz, which is the land port linking Xinjiang in western China with Kazakhstan. So I saw it with my own eyes, the kind of benefits that this kind of connection is bringing to the people in western China, to the economy, and to people in Central Asia. But let's focus on the upcoming summit a little bit. SCO Secretary General Ambassador Zhang Ming said this summit marks another milestone in SCO development. Ainur, what is your understanding of what he means by this milestone?
This is very important, and within the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, all member states, the heads of these states come to this summit, and not only that. Antonio Guterres also came to this summit, and they will be discussed the very key issues and also among the economic projects, and also this year was called as the ecologic year. So as we have seen this year, as we know, the climate change has no borders, and it has been mentioned by the president of Kazakhstan, Kassym-Jomart Tokayev. He mentioned about the disasters that we have faced. For example, many provinces of China has seen the heavy rains, India with a heat wave, and Kazakhstan, many parts of Kazakhstan and Russia as well have seen the devastated from the flood. So this is the major problem that we need to tackle, that it's urgent need for tackle to these problems. So these kind of problems will raise, and the regional connectivity, transit, and as well as the currency within the borders, we expect that the local currency will be implemented to within the trade among these countries as well.
Mayor, what is your assessment of exactly how important is this upcoming summit, bearing in mind that China will be the next rotating presidency for a year? What is your assessment of what will be discussed, what will come out of this year's summit?
There is a need to mention that we are having new members in Shanghai Cooperation Organization. It means that it is the first time that we have such a big summit with so many countries joining, like Iran. We know that Belarus is also wants to join. We have some dialogue partners from Middle East and from East Asia. So there is a need to think about reforms. I think during this summit, states need to focus on reforms, because we have bigger organization with extended geography, with different states. So we need to think about reforms, how to reform Shanghai Cooperation Organization, when it works well in new geopolitical and geo-economic situation, when there are so many countries which also have some kind of problems between each other. So this summit, for this reason, is very important.
What do you think, Mayor, is the biggest challenge facing this organization, that it needs reform in your eyes?
You know, the biggest challenge for now, I think, that we have countries which are under sanctions. For instance, Iran joined to Shanghai Cooperation Organization, and Belarus is also joining. Of course, there are opportunities as well, as we will have organization will have players from Middle East, as Iran, which is very important transportation hub in Belt and Road Initiative. Also Belarus, but they are under sanctions, and I think that during this summit there is a need to think how to build economic relations in Shanghai Cooperation Organization, also taking these challenges which are coming from sanctions on Belarus, Iran, and Russia.
Professor Zhang, what is your take? What do you think will be on top of China's agenda when it takes the rotating presidency of the SCO summit, after the summit?
I think this is a historical moment for China when China assumes presidency of SCO, because the whole Eurasian continent is under tremendous pressure, which results from geopolitical tensions and also strong needs for future developments across all the SCO members and all the Eurasian members. So this historical duty falls on China's shoulders to really bring peace and stability and prosperity to the not only SCO members, but also throughout the whole Eurasia continent. So I think that China needs to send out a strong message that the SCO is a good platform that would contribute to the peace throughout the Eurasia continent. And also it's going to serve as a platform, especially built upon China's economic strengths, to increase economic growth and economic prosperity for all the SCO members and also go to the rest of the Eurasian continent.
What do you think is the biggest challenge, though, facing the organization, Professor Zhang?
I think the biggest challenge for the SCO is institutional innovation. In many senses, SCO is unique in the sense that it's different from the European Union model, which is very strong, built upon economic integration, and also very different from the so-called US, Japan, South Korea military alliance. SCO is not a military alliance. So how to give innovation to the decision-making of SCO and how to make the SCO decision-making mechanism sustainable. I think this is something that policymakers of SCO members need to think about. So on the one hand, they need to innovate the decision-making of SCO and make it sustainable and more efficient. And on the other hand, it is very important for China to encourage members to strike a balance between security and economics. So I think that the biggest challenge is twofold. One is institutional innovation, and the second is how to place economics at the center of the agenda of SCO in the future.
I know, let's focus on China-Kazakhstan relationship, unless you have something to add to the previous speaker. I mean, Kazakhstan is a very important partner, very good relationship. Basically, as I said, the only unique, permanent, comprehensive strategic partnership that China has in this world. What explains such a strong foundation, and what has this relationship meant for people in Kazakhstan, for Kazakhstan in its development to seek a bright path and to seek a green transition?
All right. So it's our historical to stand for peace, maintain effective, friendly relationships with all countries. And among these countries, China plays huge role and is particularly significant for Kazakhstan. And Kazakhstan-China relationship is built on a strong bond of solid friendship, good neighborliness, which has been said by the both heads of the state. And we also have the similar saying, which is the closest neighbor is better than distant relative. So we see that from this that how it's important for us to be in a good relationship, and the peoples of the both states are enjoying of this friendliness and of this relationship. And Kazakhstan and China hold similar positions on many pressing global and regional issues. And Kazakhstan fully supports the China's proposed Belt and Road Initiative, and the birthplace of Belt and Road Initiative is Kazakhstan, Astana, in 2013. So we deeply appreciate that during the state visit of the Xi Jinping in Astana, September 2013, for the first time, it was the implementation of Belt and Road Initiative has been announced, and Kazakhstan fully supported that because it also aligns with the strategy of Kazakhstan, like bright path, Nurlozhol as well. And also, I'd like to highlight the President Xi's first trip since resuming international travel after COVID-19 pandemic was also the destination was Kazakhstan. And even this time, the travel of Xi Jinping to Central Asian countries is started from the Kazakhstan. As Xi Jinping told to President Tokayev, I choose Kazakhstan to highlight the high level of unique nature of Kazakhstan and Chinese relationship and their friendship. So within this one day, there was plenty of the agreement has been signed. One of them, is $5 billion cost the projects, and these projects will create new jobs. One of them is a factory which will create 600 new jobs, and this will be, I guess, it will be perceived by the Kazakhstani people in a very positive way.
I know you actually touched upon a very important issue, and I also experienced when I was in Horgos, and Professor Zhang, I'm going to you there. While China is increasing trade by selling and buying more from not just Kazakhstan, but other Central Asian countries, what do you think China needs to bear in mind, or Chinese companies needs to bear in mind? Because we are seeing lots of Chinese electric vehicles going there. We are seeing huge blades of wind turbines being transported from China. Of course, these are welcome, but what do you think China really needs to bear in mind when we increase these kind of connectivity projects and trade?
I think the biggest thing that China needs to do when it comes to China-Central Asia relationship is to strengthen the people-to-people exchanges. Not just physically people visit each other, but also to increase the knowledge sharing, and also to establish intellectual or epistemic community between and among Chinese and Central Asian countries. And I used to joke with my students that I said, knowledge cannot fly over the Tian Shan Mountains between China and Kazakhstan, which has been a problem for China-Kazakhstan relationship for many years. But now, with more and more people visiting each other, with more and more institutional linkages between China and Kazakhstan, knowledge can fly over the Tian Shan Mountains.
Absolutely.
So I think that in the future, people-to-people exchanges and also the improvement and strengthening of the epistemic community between China and Central Asian countries would be or needs to be a top priority for policymakers.
Yeah. Let me give the last minute to Mayor. Mayor, you are from Armenia right now, not part of the SCO. There are a lot of countries in Eurasia in either end watching this organization. What does a stronger SCO mean for these countries that are looking for what's happening in the geopolitical sense, but also what opportunities there are?
Armenia is a dialogue partner at the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, and it is also very interested in working with this organization. And for this reason, 2-3 years ago, Armenia also applied for getting observer status. It means that Armenia gives importance to this organization because, you know, we are in South Caucasus. It is next to Central Asia, and developments which are happening in Central Asia have their impact in South Caucasus as well.
Are there any instance you can raise, any example you can raise of such benefits, of the spillover effect, let's say, of Central Asian trade?
Of course, because South Caucasus is also part of China, Central Asia, West Asia economic corridor, which is uniting states in West Asia, Central Asia, and going towards Europe. So as South Caucasus is also in this direction, in this economic corridor, which is in the framework of Belt and Road Initiative, so regional states are also getting opportunity to get their goods faster and trade with China, which has a huge market for small economies like in South Caucasus.
Thank you so much. We have to leave it there. Ainur Slamgazi, Assistant Professor of the Astana IT University, joining us from Washington, D.C. Mayor Sahakian, Director of the China-Eurasia Council for Political and Strategic Research in Armenia, joining us from Yerevan, and Professor in the Department of Political Science and International Relations and Director of the China and Central Asia Studies Center at KIMEP University in Kazakhstan, joining us from Shanghai. With that, we come to the end of this special edition of The Point with me, Liu Xin. As always, you can follow me on Facebook and X using the handle Liu Xin in Beijing. On behalf of the whole team, thank you for joining us. You've got the point.